Well, you are in for a treat. Unity Writers and Voices are here today. Yay. And we have some wonderful, talented people. And you should have all received, when you came in, this that kind of tells you what's going on. Two sides with lots of wonderful things are going to be said today. Unity Voices, Writers and Voices is part of Unity of Greater Hartford. And I'm always thrilled that Liston, with his arm pulled behind him, said yes to me. And he's going to tell you, of course, a little bit more about Unity Writers and Voices. But for me, I want to thank you all for being here. And at the end of today's presentation, we will have a love offering. And there's a basket in the back for that. So whenever two or more are gathered, take an offering. So we thank you for being here tonight, today, and I'm going to turn it over to Unity Writers and Voices. Please welcome.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Unity Writer and Voices, a showcase of our creations. My name is Liston Philyaw, and I head up the group of talented writers and performers. We are a group of writers from different backgrounds, from different parts of the state, that come together under the umbrella of Unity of Greater Hartford. We first came together as a writing group in April of 2018. This year marks our 7th year as a group. Throughout the years, we have had a number of people participate in our workshops and look forward to many of them returning to join us. Thanks to Reverend Christine's vision and her support of our group, I have been encouraged to facilitate this group of talented individuals who are an amazing group of writers and performers, as you will see. We generally meet 2 times a month on Sundays, both in person at the church and on Zoom, to share our creations with each other and to receive encouragement, support, and suggestions from our participants. Our first live presentation, entitled A Spiritual Awakening, took place on April 7th, 2019. Our next presentation, Resurrections, was held virtually due to the COVID virus on April 5th, 2020. Now, in spite of the challenges of COVID, we continue to meet and have never stopped. The theme for our presentation of Illumination, Our Stories, Our Voices took place on February 26, 2023. This year's program is entitled Gratitudes, Love, and Inspiration. So at this time, we want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy our show. We're going to start off with a presentation by Frances McAlpine Sharp.
Good afternoon. I am Frances McAlpine Sharp, and I will be reading one of my original pieces, My Morning Prayer. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me, are the beginning lyrics of a popular song, if practice could obtain liberty. As much as we want to change everyone, we must look at our own selves first, then change the negatives we sometimes do that make our whole world worse. Consider other folks' feelings, just as you want them to consider yours, and think of how you would possibly feel if you had to contend with slammed doors. Then, construct with your mind, in some enlightening way, visions that would help our world yearn for brighter days. And instead of embracing kill or be killed, think in a new pattern that is a part of God's will, where selfishness is out of the clear-headed question and sharing becomes the newfound enlightened obsession. If we think of creature comforts for all humankind, then selfishness and greed would soon leave our stingy minds. Time spent creating weapons to keep everyone else in control could be used to design techniques to nurture all bodies and souls. Just think of what a wondrous world this could truly be if I loved you as myself and you felt the same way about me. Can I get an amen? Amen. Let there be peace on earth, please join me, and let it begin with me. Let there Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment, peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me and you.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all feeling really terrific on this beautiful sunny day. And I am going to read, my name is Dale Ann Lugren, by the way. I am going to read a piece I call A Simple Prayer. Today I live in the light of my own heart. I adore this place within me. It is my home. It goes with me wherever I am. It is peace and contentment. Thank you, my beloved Spirit Mother, Father. You are gentle compassion. You are acceptance of all. You are unconditional love. Thank you for the gift of knowing you are real, vibrating within me, giving me life and aliveness. You are my very self. You are the love inside that never goes away. I give thanks for this gift. Amen. Amen.
Top of the afternoon, y'all.
Top of the afternoon.
I'm gonna tax you with a sonnet, 14 lines and out. Dogwood, dogwood dogma. Yeah, thank you. A silhouette, darker than night, impressed itself upon the sky. I felt a witness to insight that logic likely would defy. This moment where reason undressed, acknowledged what it never knew, how wordless wonders have possessed insight, reason would misconstrue. The dogwood, profiled silently, indifferent its shapely impress, might cause my standstill reverie in realms reason would just finesse. Feelings evoked in post-dusk calm communicate in wordless psalm.
That was my brother, Kimball Haynes Hunt. I'm his sister, Deborah Charles Teresa Hunt Wilson. Elizabeth Taylor beat there. This is a prayer that I wrote for Gaia, and if you're not familiar with that term, it's also synonymous with Mother Earth. Humans, We are a complex species, comprised of faces, facets, and fractures, morphing into different personas, sometimes out of protection, sometimes out of expressions that comprise us. We are paradoxes wrapped in flesh, for we are each other's greatest gift and each other's greatest challenge. We come bearing blessings and barbed wire. I don't know if upon birth I fell out of the galactic womb a little too soon. I've examined my heart often. I feel that I am loving and kind, but I recognize my love is not equal. Although I care for humans, my deepest, most expansive heart lies with creatures and creations of Mother Earth. To bury my face in the luxurious fur of my cat Snowball and listen to the mantra of his purr. It's a sip of bliss from the Holy Grail. Or to visit my brother's rescue dog, Miss Prudence, adorned with an intoxicating blue merle pattern on her body, and who charges me with unbridled excitement. If the energy of that vigorous tail wagging could be harnessed, it would light a city. I'm also deeply connected with Earth, as if she were part of my breath. I treasure all of her. Stones, soil, flowers, waters, trees, all that she is, all that she offers. She has given to us freely, and we have taken way too much from her. Many times during the week, I walk to the reservoir, which is a 3.5-mile round trip. It is there I've fallen in love with a grove of trees. They're my outdoor chapel. I talk with and have named each one of them, these elegant, splendid companions. Their names are Guardian, Whisper, Gentilia, Flute, Meadow, Shadow, Shags, and Scar. Look up. Look up. I invite you, look up. They are the lace of the heavens, the capillaries running through the sky. Trees are wooden gods. I do a standing meditation enfolded in their arms and say a prayer that I wrote to honor Gaia. Mother, Father, God, divine consciousness, that all that is and always has been, the bearer of 1,000 names and the nameless one, I call upon you now. I call upon the mighty archangels of the 4 directions, Raphael to the north, Michael to the east, Uriel to the south, Gabriel to the west. I call upon the Galactic Federation and Council of Light, the Pleiadians, Arcturians, and Syrians. Be with us now. I call upon Yeshua, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Padre Pio, Ron Roth, Lakshmi, Buddha, Kuan Yin, and Avalokitesvara. Gather, I beseech you. Hear my prayers. Pour your love, light, and blessings into the holy blood of Gaia, her sacred waters that flow as ponds, lakes, rivers and streams, oceans and seas, all those that move within those waters, dolphins, whales, seals, all finned and aquatic ones. May they pulse light as they move to cleanse her. Bless the winged ones that take flight on the winds, birds, bugs, butterflies, and dragonflies, great hawks, eagles, herons, and condors, may they pulse light as they move in the currents of her holy breath. May two-leggeds, four-leggeds that walk upon her skin bless and heal her body. The crawlers and wigglers that live within her womb, may they pulse light. May all combined energies of loving vigilance, walking and watching over this fragile planet, continually guide our path to enlightenment, unfoldment, and ascension. For this I thank you, and so it is. Aho.
Yay.
The joy of you. The warm feeling that surrounds me, because I know you are always here, brings joy to my heart, even when I'm facing unexpected fears. Though my eyes start watering as I begin to cry, some ethereal comfort finds a way to dry my frightened eyes. Your presence is real to me, not just in my mind, but all throughout my day or night, no matter what the time. I always know I can depend on your sought-after saving grace. Thinking about what you've done for me puts a smile on my happy face. And no matter the situation that I sometimes find myself in, I know somehow you will be with me from the beginning to the end. The profound gift that you have lovingly bestowed on me has made my earthly journey an exciting reality. So even though this life sometimes has its surprising ups and downs, I appreciate knowing that you will always lovingly be around. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. All that's good and perfect comes from you. You're the heart of my contentment, hope for all I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. Thank you, Jesus.
Francis. So this piece is called Floating. And let's see if I can get to the space where I wrote this from. Floating. Reaching beyond this moment in time to the farthest swirling galaxies, brilliantly hued nebulae dusting across the goddess of infinity as she contracts and inhales in one infinitesimal moment, blinking sparkling stars extending in the cosmos. As she exhales, her heart takes one beat, one creative pulse. Mother of space, of distance, of birth and death, of respiration and mind, I am floating in resplendent light, flying in freedom. Diving below, soaring high, a billion suns exploding in my heart with joy, flames of love at its center. Such a dazzling, glittering azure blue of awareness. I am filled with expanding, peaceful ecstasy, union, beauty, oneness. I am the pure vibration of stillness. I am the melodious tone of harmony. I am one note. Can this be real? Yes, it is so.
Good afternoon. My name is Olivia Soares, and the poem I'm reading is called First Love. It started out as one quick glance. It started out as us just friends. It started out with your hand in mine. It started out as a little Kindle. It started out as lots of text. It started out with your friends in mine. It started out as we walked. It started out as I turned pink. It started out with you asking and a yes. It started out as school ended. It started out as you and me. The-
So I'm going to write, excuse me, I could write one too, right up if I wanted to. I'm going to read a poem by Jane Palzer, who is a member of our writers group who cannot be here today. And she's a wonderful writer, so I'm going to read one of her poems. It's called Scherzo. I'm glad that Juliet had Romeo for her beau, and thank the gods that Guinevere had art. I'm pleased there was a Trista who kissed Isolde, and good that Cleo was attached to Mark. I shudder because if these fair maidens were on the prowl for a wonderful guy that they could wow, well, you'd be it. And then, what would I do without you?
Love's firmament. Love revels in its comic sense, lush with the lackadaisical. How suddenly, as recompense, it makes drab life feel magical. Love swims inside the heart of sound, in cadence with the hummingbird, past where monotonies have drowned, to heights where fantasies conferred. Love meanders through extremes where incongruities might lurk, leads unbridled thought in dreams as haywire builds creative work. Love's ravish when it does appear is timed by terms which are not clear.
It's like musical chairs. Up and down. Okay. This is called Reflections on Gratitude. And my phone's going off. Meeting happening Okay. Reflections on gratitude. I feel so much appreciation for the place I can enter within to find comfort and peace. Sometimes it is the only place I can go. Life can be painful, and yet there is beauty and tranquility in this inner sanctuary. From here, my eyes look out upon a world of unity and joy. I see the splendor of human courage. I see nobility in the daily acts of my friends and family, letting go of pride to be kind, tolerant, patient, and loving. Amid copious, continual challenges of living, it takes fortitude to choose the majesty of incorruptness and trustworthiness. Whenever and wherever encountered, true sincerity and integrity is to be revered and admired. What are the four statements that are to be said often in the Hawaiian spiritual practice of Ho'oponopono? They are, I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And thank you. The word Ho'oponopono translates to mean to make things right or to make things move back to balance. This teaching stresses the importance of love, forgiveness, self-awareness, releasing negative thoughts and emotions, and promoting inner peace and harmony. In my yoga practice, our spiritual teacher begins every talk with these words: I welcome you all with all my heart. It is not just something polite to say to an audience, but is a deep part of the yogic practice as she teaches it. What does it mean to truly welcome someone? To me, it means to create an open, loving, non-judgmental, and accepting space for another person. To drop all of my issues, fears, and problems so that I don't dump them on someone else. This isn't an easy thing to accomplish, and no one succeeds at it 100% of the time. It is a practice, a goal, an intention that helps us to grow toward this behavior a little more every day. Recently, I have had 3 different people apologize to me about some very significant events that occurred with them. 2 of them are my sisters, who I thought might never do such a thing. It has taught me that you never know how life can change and how honorable a person is capable of being. One of the most difficult acts for a person to make is to admit they could have or wish they had done something differently, and then to say, I'm sorry for it. A true apology is not an admission of unworthiness. It is a statement made from a place of self-confidence and loving kindness. It is said for the purpose of healing. I am so grateful for these acts of open-hearted giving. Let us all be willing to say these important words of compassion. I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And thank you. Amen and amen.
I love the Lord. He heard my cry and pitied every groan. Long as I live and troubles rise, I'll hasten to his throne. Gratitude, love, and appreciation. After staying with my daughter for nearly 3 years, I had become even more attached to her. She had me come and live with her when I got very ill because of an ailment I had been dealing with for quite a few years, trying to stave off an operation that I was afraid might render me unable to sing or even speak coherently anymore or act. The medication stopped working, and I was barely able to eat at all. And though the weight I lost was something I had prayed to lose for years, I didn't expect it to happen the way that it did. But I have to admit, I was grateful for the weight loss, but not the illness. When my daughter first invited me to come and stay with her, I was a little reluctant because I had basically been on my own for nearly 3 decades. And though I was very pleased that she reached out to me and tried to convince me to stay with her as long as I wanted to, but definitely until I was well, I had to seriously think about it because I didn't want to become a burden to her or give up my own autonomy. Of course, eventually, common sense took over, and I packed my bags and went with her, feeling blessed that my child was more than willing to include me in her already very busy life and schedule. And believe me when I tell you, she did above and beyond any call of duty. The pandemic came, and while I was still convalescing from my much-needed operation, she basically, with her own hands, turned her 2-car attached garage into a mother's apartment for me, with a living room, bedroom, bathroom, kitchenette area, and even a studio. And she tried her very best to make me feel at home, which I did. Though I missed my own house to some extent and the activities I was used to quite a bit. Well, needless to say, I got used to being around my daughter Cheryl. After staying with her for those few years, so when she had to go away for work and vacation this past summer, I missed her dearly. But I took that opportunity to go stay in Hartford for the month. And I had a great time doing some of the things I had missed doing and seeing people I hadn't been able to hang out with as much since I was living so far away. So literally, I was having a vacation myself. But suddenly, the fun ended abruptly when I called to check on Cheryl, who had been back from her latest trip for a couple of days. I found out she was not feeling well, and ultimately what we thought was just a cold or something turned out to be a deadly disease that she had contracted on her work-related trip. And it nearly took her life. Thank God for her best friend, who took her to the hospital after I had one of my sons call, and he was finally able to convince Cheryl to go. And then he got in his car and drove in from New Jersey, and I was able to get my tenant, one of my former students, to drive me to Meriden to the hospital. When I saw my daughter, I was devastated. She was nearly incoherent and had a temperature of 105. And every specialist you could name was laboring over her, trying to diagnose her ailment. Of course, we were all in a frenzy with worry. I called my other son who lives overseas, and I called other family members, friends, and her priest, so that the prayers could begin all over the world if necessary. And after 8 days of tears, treatment, prayers, daily and nightly visuals, and appreciated support from all who came to visit or call, God lifted the cloud of disease and fear, and my child was released from the hospital. Not quite well yet, but the prognosis was much better than first expected. And now, 4 months later, I can say she is almost totally healed and able to resume most of her duties at work and even participate in some of her extracurricular activities. I can't even express the gratitude, love, and appreciation that my sons and I have nestled in our hearts for God's grace, everyone's prayers, and the doctor's skills that healed me over 2 years ago, and my daughter just the other day. And now, I feel we have many, many, many more years to enjoy each other and all that this beautiful world has to offer us. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all my cares are gone. Because I know in His hands He holds the future, then life's worth living just because He lives. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a piece that I wrote called Miracles Can Happen, and I've asked Deborah and Kim to help me with this. I'm going to read it's a short play. I'm going to read the stage directions, and I'm going to read my part. So now I'm sitting in a comfortable, first of all, I wrote this in 2020. I'm sitting in a comfortable recliner chair watching TV. It is late at night and I have fallen asleep. I'm suddenly disturbed by a knock on the door. Now, who can that be knocking on my door at this time of night? Come in, the door is open.
Mr. Filia?
Yes, who are you? Wait a minute. This is not my house. I dozed off in this chair for a few minutes, and now I'm in someone else's house. What is going on?
Sir, I'm Samuel, and I'm here to take you to Mr. Abraham's office.
Mr. Abraham? Who is Mr. Abraham, and where am I?
Sir, don't you remember? Today's the day you're to sign the contract for Mr. Abraham. He made arrangements for me to come pick you up.
I must be losing my mind. Now, I've fallen asleep in this chair in my house. Now, I don't know where I am or who you are. I've only been sleeping for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most.
Oh, I'm sure you've been sleeping more than 10 minutes.
I don't think so. I know I just took a quick nap.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I'll open up these curtains and let you look out that window for yourself.
What is happening? I don't understand. I know for a fact I was sitting in my easy chair watching TV.
Which one? There's 12 TVs mounted on the wall.
12 TVs? Why are there 12 screens mounted on the wall?
You sure ask a lot of questions.
This is crazy. I must be in the Twilight Zone.
That's funny. You certainly have a sense of humor. Listen, we need to get going soon. We don't want to keep Mr. Abrahams waiting.
I'm sorry, Samuel, but I'm not comfortable going anywhere with you. I don't know you. I don't know Mr. Abraham, and I must have had something bad to eat or drink because I'm not feeling well. My stomach is upset, and I need to rest.
All right, listen. You rest here. I'm going to go in the kitchen. I'll make you some tea.
Oh, no. I don't know you, and I don't trust you. I'll go in there with you.
All right. If it makes you feel better, come on.
Wow. This is a nice kitchen. All right, Samuel, I'm watching you to make sure you don't do anything funny with that tea.
Listen, it's obvious you don't really trust me, but you saw me making the tea. If you drink this tea, you're going to feel better.
All right, I'll try it. I just don't want nothing to happen to me. Oh my God, this is the best tea I've ever had.
And how's your stomach feeling?
Great. It also relaxed me. You know, this sure is a beautiful house. Do you mind if I take a look around?
Well, sure, but I'm not really sure why you do need to look around. It's not like you haven't seen this before.
I think you're confusing me with someone else, or I'm still dreaming.
Listen, we don't have a lot of time. I need to get you to your appointment. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a quick tour of this house. Would you like that?
Yes, please.
All right. Now, as we step outside of the kitchen, there's going to be a small dining room for a small group of guests. But if you step into this room, you'll see it's designed for a large group of people.
This is wonderful. But who would invite enough people to occupy this space?
Oh, you'd be surprised. Now, come with me. Next, we have the meditation room.
This room is warm and relaxing. These plants are beautiful, and look at that giant fish tank. These fish are huge. This reminds me of my visit to the Mystic Aquarium.
Now, over here, there's a sound control for this room, which is separate from the sound system throughout the house. Come on with me. Let's walk over to the theater area at the end of the building. Now, this room is designed to hold performances like plays, concerts, any other kind of show can be held here.
I love this room. I could have productions of my plays performed in here. I'm a playwright, you know.
I know.
You heard I write plays?
Yes, I'm aware that you're a playwright. Now, let's take the elevator to the second floor where most of the bedrooms are.
This house has an elevator?
As a matter of fact, there are two, one on each side of the spiral staircase.
I'm impressed. Now, this is the kind of house I would love to have one day and own it and live in.
Yeah, well, this is the kind of house a lot of people would love to live in.
Believe me, I'd buy it if I had the money.
Maybe one day you will.
Oh, I doubt it.
You have to think positively, Liston, and never give up on your dreams. You also show gratitude for what you now have. And with a little inspiration, you can have your heart's desire.
Well, if it were going to happen, something like this happened, it would have happened years ago in my younger days.
You can't let age be an excuse for giving up on dreams. But come on, enough of that. Let's take a look at the bedrooms ahead and take a look at the main bedroom. Then we really have to get going. You can look at the rest of the house when we have more time.
Thanks for the tour. This house looks like a mansion.
It is a mansion. We better get going. We don't want to keep Mr. Abraham waiting.
All right, but you still didn't tell me what this is all about.
Mr. Abraham is going to explain everything to you.
End of scene, scene 2, takes place at Mr. Abraham's office. Same day, immediately following, Samuel escorts him in.
Mr. Abraham, Mr. Philyaw is here.
Thank you, Samuel. Mr. Filia, would you like to take a seat? Would you like something to eat or drink?
Oh, no, thank you, I'm fine. Have we met before? You look very familiar.
You know, I get that all the time. I guess I have one of those familiar faces. At any rate, I called this meeting because I know you're a playwright, and a good one at that.
Thank you. You're familiar with my work?
Oh, yes. I've been observing and following you and your works for years.
Well, maybe that's why you look familiar to me.
No. I do my work behind the scenes, so I'm sure you haven't seen me before.
I want to ask you a question. How did I get here? The last thing I remember was falling asleep at home in my chair. When I woke up, I found myself in this strange place. Will somebody please tell me what's going on?
I'll explain it to you in a few minutes. Now, I'm aware you have been writing for a number of years.
Yes, I have, but I never seem to make the connections to get my plays produced on the level I would like to see them performed.
Now, sometimes in this business, you don't make the connection because you don't meet the right people. This business is competitive. If you're lucky, you might meet the person that can make it happen. Now, in your case, it's about timing, your message, your love for what you do, and your persistence.
If that's the case, why hasn't it happened yet?
Because it wasn't your time.
Well, when will it ever be my time?
Right now.
Right now? Why didn't it happen when I was in my 20s?
Because you weren't ready, and the world wasn't ready.
Will they ever be ready? This is 2020. If they're not ready now, I don't know when they will be ready.
They're ready now, in 2025.
2025? That's 5 years from now.
Listen, this is 2025.
What are you talking about? Why do you keep saying this is 2025?
Because it is. You've traveled into the future.
Now I know I lost my mind. What are you saying?
Well, let me try it this way. In this dimension, the past, the present, the future, they all occur at the same time. You're still on Earth, but in a more advanced energy grid.
You must be delusional. How is that possible?
It's always been possible. You just weren't aware of it back in 2020. We've advanced more since your time. People are healthier, they live to be older. It's not unusual for people to live well into their hundreds and look younger than they did 5 years earlier. As a matter of fact, you look younger. You ought to see yourself in the mirror.
Now that you mention it, there was not one mirror in that house.
Well, we had them moved. We knew if you saw yourself looking younger, it would be frightening. Now here's a mirror. Let me show you.
Whoa, I can't believe this. I look like I did when I was in my 30s. I even had a full head of hair. How is that possible?
Well, after COVID-19 in 2020, the world governments got together and healthcare became their priority. They worked on all nature of cure. Light workers teamed up, taught the masses how to use their minds to heal their own bodies. And now, less stress, people are happier. We cleaned up the environment. And with all these changes, human bodies began to look younger, lifespans increased. Now, listen, let's talk about why we brought you here. We want to start a relationship. We want to produce your plays. We have the resources. We can hire actors, directors, stage crew, build top-notch sets. We're particularly interested in your latest play, the one you wrote in 2024.
Here you go again. How is it possible I'm living in 2020?
I said it before. The past, the present, the future, they all occur at the same time. As a matter of fact, you've already agreed to have us produce it, you just don't remember it. But you will.
If this is the case, why am I receiving all this help?
You were chosen to be a playwright long before you were born. If you noticed, your ability to write plays is a gift. You also create stories that change the lives of others, especially those you've never met. You're blessed, Liston. You're highly favored. And your guardian angels have been guiding and watching over you. You've shown gratitude, love, and inspiration. That's your gift. And guess what? Your play is being performed here next week.
Next week? I can't stay here that long.
And why not? You've nothing to do back in 2020 with everyone staying home because of the virus. And besides, we have the ability to travel back and forth between the time zones.
Well, I didn't come prepared. I didn't bring a change of clothing or bring any of the necessities I need. And where will I stay?
Stay at the house. The one you like so much. There's clothes in the closet. You wear those.
Now, I can't be wearing somebody else's clothes. I don't even know if they'll fit.
Oh, they'll fit.
And how do you know they'll fit?
I know because, listen, they're yours.
You know something? I have got to get out of here. Maybe this is the Twilight Zone or I'm still sleeping in that chair. I know one thing. I need to get out of here. What's wrong with this door? Why can't I open it?
Because it's locked. Now, come on back over and have a seat. I need to tell you a bit. You may think this is a fantasy, but it's not, and I need you to calm down.
I don't know what you did, but I'm starting to calm down. There's something about your voice that's putting me into a relaxed state.
Well, I'm glad you're relaxed. I need to tell you something, Liston. I am your guardian angel as well as Samuel. We were assigned to you at birth. You've been chosen to bring joy to many and to spread love across the land. And you are doing that through your presence and your gifts. This is real. That house, the one you love so well, that's your house. You built it with the monies you received from the royalties of your plays. Those clothes, the ones in the closet, they're yours. That's how I know they'll fit. So, relax. Relax even more. And accept the fact that you have arrived. Accept the fact you're being recognized for your gifts, your talents, your contributions. In 2025, you have become known for your contributions to worthy causes, for helping others less fortunate. Now, let's get you back to your house before you leave, I need you to sign this contract to produce additional performances. You know how to spell X?
This is exciting. Where do I sign?
Right here.
Here you go. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours.
So that's great. And Samuel's gonna take you back to the house. I'll see you next week at the premiere of your play.
End of scene, scene 3. Takes place in a large theater. The house is packed. At Rise, I am sitting in the front row between Samuel and Abraham. As the play is being performed, I seem to know what is happening before it happens. At the end of the performance, the actors are given a standing ovation, and I am called on stage to receive an award. The end.
A trip to the past. He rolled over off his beanbag chair, pulling off his goggles and slowly becoming more alert. He stomped over in his t-shirt and sweatpants to the kitchen, his feet dodging empty food containers, soda cans, and chip bags. He swung open the fridge door, grabbing a Coke bottle and putting it to his lips. Empty, he sighed, grabbing another and another, before on the 5th bottle he realized he was out of Coke. Groaning, he swung open all the cabinets in his little kitchen, just for each one to only hold empty boxes and no food. Being already in a grumpy state, the man only got more upset, grabbing a sweater, throwing it on, before stomping out the door. As the man made his way out the apartment lobby, he watched his neighbor's son fall flat on his face and begin to cry. But the man sped up out the door, not wanting to hear the little boy's tears. The man grabbed a cart and made his way into the store. The store attendant called out, "Good afternoon," but the man just shrugged and kept going, making his way through the store, grabbing his soda, chips, cereal, and microwave meals. In the line, the man got stuck behind 2 young teens discussing the new VR game, where it allowed you to revisit memories and see them again, how you witnessed them when it happened. The man kept that in mind while he walked home, then as he ate, and then while he played his other games, until that was all he could think of. Searching up the game, he quickly found it, pulling it up and connecting it to his screen, and pulling on his VR goggles. He yada-yada'd over the rules and regulations, checking off the I accept box, as he began to get excited as he remembered his old friends from high school and his own teen years. The man put in the date of his junior year, first day of summer, June 9th, 2052. And the goggles immediately began loading. And then he was suddenly at the mall with a small group of friends. The man smiled, knowing he hadn't seen any of his friends since graduation. His friends all stopped, looking at the man. "Why are you smiling like that?" The man didn't even realize how much he had missed his friends. But before he could answer, he tripped, falling flat on his face. And immediately, a hand reached out to him. He looked up. It was his best friend. His friend helped him up, and that was when he remembered how successful his friend turned out. In current times, being one of the richest people in the country, amidst the hour he spent trying to figure out how his friend got so successful, the man saw his crush. Eagerly, he ran up to her, his friends right behind him, as he said good afternoon to her. But his crush simply laughed at something her friend said and kept walking. That was when his best friend again came up to him with nothing but kindness as he helped the man feel better. And that was when the man realized what he was missing in his life. Without completing the day, the man yanked off his goggles and went straight to bed, waking up the next day and holding the lobby door open for his neighbors, saying hello back to the store attendant, and helping up the child when they fell again the following week, Just adding these simple acts of kindness to his day instantly helped change the man's views and simply helped him reshape how he wanted to live. The end.
This is a piece I wrote called Leslie. I don't put a lot of doodads on my refrigerator. It's not a reflection or judgment of anyone who does. It's just not my cup of tea. But therein lies the beauty of exceptions. Leslie adorns my fridge. I remember her, not because I'm clinging or still mourning or wanting her to come back, but rather because she is a delicious memory. Leslie was a pure soul. There are not many that I've met, but she was one. This is not glorification, but a realization. I was lucky enough to have known her. When cancer was consuming her body, she wrote letters of gratitude to her close friends before leaving this planet. She was one of those rare people that graciously and effortlessly accepted all of you. When she hugged me, love poured from her heart and my DNA danced. She had mastered the gift of wisdom and lived as Ram Dass had written, "Be here now." She could listen, look and smile, and without uttering a word, you received a download of understanding. Leslie transformed Fridays into a banquet. 1 or 2 espressos infused with some sambuca, accompanied with roasted garlic breads, topped with goat's cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, and pesto. A whole day could melt as if 10 minutes had passed. She and her husband, Ed, moved to Oregon a few years before receiving her diagnosis. I flew out to see her, she flew back to Connecticut, and we kept our tight bond. She let me know that the cancer had grown and shared that she was dying. Leslie told me so we could speak openly about it. She requested that I do shamanic journey work with her. We did repeated sessions, and even though on separate coasts, we both concurrently saw a whale that would come to her and bring messages. After Leslie passed, she was cremated. Ed gave me this beautifully crafted wooden urn with some of her ashes. A funeral was held on the West Coast, and then Ed flew back to Connecticut to have a service here for friends that lived here. Before traveling east, he told me he went down to the ocean with some of her ashes. He stayed a long time and then released them in the water, so part of Leslie would be where she loved. He also shared that within minutes, a whale breached. He wanted me to know. I miss Leslie, yet I sense her everywhere. In the currents of the wind, the light from a star, or the iridescent on the wing of a dragonfly. Eddie asked me to do the eulogy at the service held in Connecticut, which I did, and I closed with this prayer that I wrote for her. May winds blow strong to carry you home. May oceans quiet in reverence for your journey. May there be stillness to hear you. May birds pluck their finest plumes to cover your eyes. May whales sing a song for you. May the great owl guide you to the next world. May all the blessings you've brought to this world be the chariot that carries you home. May our prayers invoke kisses from the divine. And may all our love provide you with a blanket of peace. I am grateful that for my all too brief moments, I got to walk with an angel.
This is a long period of time. You guys are great. And you know, being in this group, which you can see is replenishing, is rewarded by having you guys show an interest. So hats off to you. There is a place in foliage which is for all an ideal lair. Here, limits are viewed sacrilege. Here, one won't need the wheelchair. Mosaics in the sun's design, bedizening the infused air, will translate how the passerine songbird pumps full the heart with dahlia flare. Here, love, a nighttime butterfly will use soft flittings to ignite the genius hidden in a sigh where secrets shared will never blight. When life stoppers us otherwise, love will let us stabilize.
God bless all our bladders, too. So as Dale Ann had mentioned earlier, one of our very talented writers, Jane Palzier, could not be here, so I'm privileged to read one of her short poems called Dr. Jefferson. How long is it since the man died? 4 years? It seems like only yesterday I stood before his shining eyes and enjoyed his zest for living. How happy he was, how wise, how filled with words to soothe each bleeding moment, how prolific in tones of kindness, how versed in the needs of men. Many a day since has run by me, trying to evade something he once said or did. 4 years? Are you sure? I must confess, I remember little of the day he died, but by the legacy of laughing words he left me, I cannot forget the years he lived. And this is a piece I wrote called Musa Motha. And I don't know if anybody's addicted to America's Got Talent, but he is one of the finalists that inspired this piece. Musa Motha. Musa Motha. Everyone should know his name, for it is a great name attached to a magnificent person with the courage of a continent. His eyes are flames, and his face smiles from coast to coast. You cannot help but open when you see him, for his radiance, like a match to dry brush, ignites your heart to burn love. He's from Africa, and cancer ate his leg, devoured it whole. So loose material hangs on the left side of his pants where once dwelled muscle and flesh. A metal cane acts as a fulcrum for balance. He walks slowly, then swings around to face an audience. The stage darkens. A spotlight hits his face. There's deafening quiet. And then music starts. Musa is airborne. Gasps are heard as his remaining leg hurls to an unfathomable height overhead. He twists and leaps into the air, yet lands as light as dew. Thunderous applause erupts as he has only begun to perform aerial feats that birds would hail as wondrous. It's as if flesh evaporated and spirit took flight. He is riding that music like a stallion, moving at lightning speed. He has become one with his cane. He rises and falls, rises and falls. The electricity of him hits that audience like thunder, and they bolt from their seats, clapping their hands to the pulse of the music. Musa, 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 Musa. With his final thrust towards the sky, he lands with the grace of a ballerina. He raises his cane in salute to his metal companion, lowers his sweat-drenched face, and slowly lifts his head to deafening applause. Musa Motha, Musa Motha. Everyone should know his name, for it is a great name attached to a magnificent person with the courage of a continent and a smile that reaches coast to coast.
We're getting there. No, good job. We use at best imperfect glimpse, fatigued by what feels out of tune, our insight stoppered, merely limps, hope's profile seems inopportune. Yet, still we feel mute continents, with pull from deep neath hackneyed psalm, impervious to violence, it reconfigures hope as balm. A sense comes, freedom may arrive, disheveled from a thankless realm, which hope, though blinkered, keeps alive, persuading fear to loose the helm. Hope's use of stern humility steers through freedom's obscurity.
Poem for a lovely life. Smiles, kisses, love, respect, and trust. How much does it really take from us? It is easier to laugh than it is to cry. So why plan ways to make others painfully die? So much time is spent developing dastardly evil thoughts, causing people over the world to feel helpless and distraught. How much better all of our lives would actually be if we learned how to let others just be perfectly, naturally free. Free to live their own lives as they consciously choose to live, not restricted by the hang-ups that so many of us have. I feel that my ideas are better than yours. You feel that your beliefs on me you should impose. Who is really right and who is really wrong? Shouldn't our main goal be to make our planet strong? So what do you think is better? Love or hate? And how do we go about sealing our contemplated fate? Is your goal in life to feel safe and compassionately loved? Or do you enjoy being always prepared to put on your boxing gloves? Some say the worst fear is to fear itself. So why spend so much time amassing ill-gotten wealth? You then have to worry every day of your life. When will my evil deed be avenged? When will my heart get the knife? Oh, you know. The need for constant power is an example of a troubled mind. So many people spend our lives seeking it, but ironically never to find. It all seems so simple for you to be you and let me be me. Then maybe we could live our lives in blissful harmony. What's the alternative to being motivated by harmful greed and crippling fear? What has to happen to make the other options obvious and crystal clear? We've studied the words of the sages. We've received wisdom from above. We've read more than often about the agape peace of the heavenly dove. So, who is stopping the formation of a world enjoyed by all? Ooh, can we possibly look in the mirror and see who's causing the decline and the fall? If we truly want the power, it is surely in our grasp. Let us all work on the potential of present and let the revenge-wasting actions become a part of the past. When I point a finger at you, quite a few are pointing back at me. So, from hate, see, I told you so. Let's make a conscious effort to flee. One thing can bring us together. It is our innate capacity to love. Can't you see? Who will extend the first heart in hand? And who will accept it? Well, it could be you, and it could be me. Think about it.
Thank you. For our final piece, I have this is something that I wrote called If I Could. And I'm going to have Francis, Dale Ann, Kim, and Deborah to read a certain part. But I'm going to start off by saying, if I could say what's on my mind, you would know how much we love you. If I could say what's on my mind, you would know how much we love you. All of those sweet things you'd like to hear. Oh, if I could say what's on my mind, you'd hear I love you all the time.
If I could, I would have wings to spread wide and fly high up in the sky. I'd fly above the mountains, over the treetops, and into the clouds. I'd stop for a moment enjoying the view, taking in the beauty, the serenity, and the skies of blue.
If I could, I'd look down on my world and ask the question, do I know why I'm here? Am I ready to fulfill my mission? Then I'd rest on a cloud to meditate and wait for the answer. After receiving the answer, I'd eagerly lift my wings and continue to fly while saying to myself, "Oh, this feels really good. I could get used to this."
If I could say what's on my mind, keep going. I'm just singing until you get me.
Thank you. I like it. If I could, the wind from my wings would gather waters from the oceans and the seas, calm them down, extinguish forest fires, and then my feet would touch the ground with a ripple effect, causing every person I'd come in contact to relax and be at peace.
If I could say to myself, on my mind, it's gotta flow, it's gotta flow.
I like the music on hold. If I could, I'd smile and the whole world would be transformed into kindness, acceptance, and love. I'd clap my hands and all the homeless would be housed and every human being would be acknowledged and revered.
If I could, the sweat from my forehead would water the crops, providing enough food for everyone in the world to be fed. Then I'd sit back and celebrate the gifts I've given to the world. If I could, I would sing the songs of love and harmony to eliminate war, hatred, and bigotry. And we'd do it all if I could say what's on my mind. If you need a strong hand to guide you through the night, if you want someone who understands when things can get uptight, if it means anything to you to know that we care for you, check it out. Oh, check it out. From us to you. Everyone together, we love you. Thank you. Thank you.
These are Matthew's sheets.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Okay.
Good job, man.
All right, thanks.
Watch the feet.